upstanding citizen and all-round nice guy, Ark Carl, is driven from his home by the noises of renovation. He goes to the nearest inn for some peace and quiet to study. He had barely cracked open a book when a strapping young fellow in particularly shiny armour strides into the room. He strides right over to Ark Carl and rather rudely accuses him of being the heinous and most despicable murdering wizard known as Georg the Lich Guard, who is in possession of the phylactery of the dread Lich Drexel. Ark Carl is so insulted by the man's insistence that he uses magic to flee to the refuge of his house, but his accuser follows. Unable to enter, the man rants and raves outside in a way that would make Mother Oldman proud. The situation quickly escalates when Kell Lydia and the town guard get involved. Then Kell informs Georg that the man is in fact a paladin and their word is law. Despite Ark Carl's protests of innocence, the paladin dismisses them as lies and eventually climbs over the wall of the house, causing Carl to flee into the pocket dimension of his rope trick. Cornered and frustrated, Carl has no choice but to give the man what he wants and unleashes Georg. With his magic and the power of the amulet, Georg soon defeats the paladin, causing him to flee town, but enraged and insulted, Georg follows, cloaked by invisibility. He tracks down the unsuspecting paladin and finishes him off with no trouble. Georg inspects the man and finds him still alive. After taking a magic ring and unknown potion off the man, he uses his phantom steed to take the paladin to Baron Song. At first, Song seems flustered and tells Georg that this could have severe implications. When Georg is forced by Kell Grella to reveal the true nature and origin of his amulet, the Baron composes himself and they work out a plan of 3 parts. The first part was for Kell Grella to take the paladin and make it look like he was ambushed and murdered by gnolls. The second was for the Baron to give his staff a stern talking to on the value of loyalty and not revealing secrets. And the third was for Georg to sneak into town at night and make examples of certain people to ensure the rest of the town don't go telling tales. And so Georg spends the night doing bloody butcher's work, killing Kell Lydia, the innkeeper, a guardsman, and an unfortunate drunk, and claiming their souls. He returns to the Motte and Bailey near the breaking of dawn, tired and bloody. He goes to his room, but notices that it is already occupied by some unknown male. He is too exhausted to investigate further and finds another room to bed down in. The next day, Georg makes some inquiries to find out who the stranger sleeping in his room was, but no one seemed to know. The Baron tells Georg that he will be staying at the keep from now on, and Georg claims the newly restored smithy as a workshop and spends the next few days resting, studying, and gathering spell components. During that time, he finds that the paladin's ring allows the wearer to easily spot lies, but is unable to lie himself. He also learns that the Baron's birthday celebration is taking place soon, so he makes some preparations and ponders what gift to present to the Baron. Who was the mysterious guest? Has Georg finally fully embraced his darkness? What do you give a man who keeps a unicorn locked in the basement? Find out next time on Dicing with Death.
Why, hello there, everybody, and welcome to Dicing with Death. How are you doing today, Ryan? I am doing well.
Me too. Imagine that.
Imagine that.
Yes. So you guys have all heard the recap. We left off in the keep just before Baron Song's birthday. I think, as usual, Ryan and I have nothing to tell you about our lives.
You don't need to tell Stream that you are
My wife
reunited with
arrived.
the love of your life, and
My mail order bride arrived from
Thailand.
Thailand yesterday, and I picked her up from the airport. She's in the other room sleeping right now, so we can just... That's that. Ryan's bouncing up and down on a bouncy ball.
We have some lovely fan art if you haven't seen it.
Oh, yeah. Here, let's take a look at it right there.
Matthew Berger? Is that how he goes? Is that what he goes by?
That's
what the link says. So
that sounds about right. Or Kronos 4, if you prefer that name. It says Georg the Lich Guard.
Looking pretty badass, not gonna lie. Actually, surprisingly close to how I had imagined him. I guess I can describe things accurately, or maybe he can read my mind.
I think it's the telepathy
spell. Yeah, probably the telepathy.
It's probably the telepathy. Right. So why don't we hop right in? It is Baron Song's birthday. The decorations have been...
Day before.
Day of.
Okay.
The decorations have been strung. The feast has been prepared. A lot of the servants that are around are temporary servants that have been hired from town to help throw this event because there are not enough servants in the keep to properly throw a birthday party. Yes. So more people have been brought in. The guest of honor is, of course, the Baron, but the guests of note that are attending the birthday party are Lady Dysek.
Good. I have some business with her, maybe.
Her son, Dolan, her retainer knight, Arlene Norwin, and her nieces and nephews, Jolene, Samuel, Daisy, and Bargain. Also, the Sunderland family is present with Lady Sunderland, bringing her husband Brontis, her retainer knight, 3 of her children, and their spouses and their children. So, a bunch of them over there. And the other noble family that is worth noting is Lady Diana Keystone, who was actually the niece of the gatekeeper Kelcrystal Keystone. And of course, she brings her husband Thomas, her child, her aunts, her uncles, their spouses, all those things. But notably, the Keystone family does not have a retainer knight or any sort of guards to bring along.
All right. So, have these people arrived, or is this just what? So, I think Georg would spend some time getting this information from the servants in the morning.
Right. So we're still earlier in the day.
Okay. But I was able to gather this list from talking with the servants in the kitchen as I go to fetch my breakfast.
Yes.
And I think I'll stay out of the way, head to the forge, and let the servants prepare the keep for the party, and make myself scarce. I believe last time I said I was studying fly, but I think I will switch that out to a quick burning hands and then fly, because hopefully I can get burning hands in a day or 2.
Well, let's see.
And I don't think I had put any time in to fly yet. But that's the bookkeeping. How many days? Has it been 1 extra night? I'm currently at 5 out of 16 HP.
I think that is an accurate assessment.
There wasn't HP for this previous night?
There should have been, but I don't know if that was already included or not. Alright, so you are not learning fly, you are instead learning burning hands.
Alright, is my audio a little better?
Ooh, much louder.
Can you hear me? Neil's usually unbearably loud, so that's generally the issue. We could just mute him, and then I could run the whole stream.
You could, but that would be a little weird.
Ryan, you enter a treasure chamber filled with thousands and thousands of gold coins and racks filled with Holy Avenger longswords. What do you do?
All right.
So what are we saying? I'm at 5 HP?
Yeah.
Okay. One day I'll get a nap. Or a week of naps. I am expecting that my magic robe be delivered today.
Yes, it is delivered today.
I think you spoiled it and said it will show up like late this afternoon, just before the party starts, or something like that.
Yeah, it takes a little time, but it does show up maybe 4 hours before the party starts.
So I think during the day I'll just get my study time in, get my workshop time in. I think
maybe lower your volume a little bit now.
Nerny. Is that any better?
We'll see what they say. It seems fine to me. It's hard to tell. I can't hear myself.
Aren't you running the show?
I'm running the show, but you're peeking out at the end of the line, and I can't tell what goes beyond the line. You're off the charts, Ryan. You're just off the charts.
Are you sure?
Not anymore. You're not.
Whatever.
All right. Anyway, continue. What are you planning on doing?
I think I'll be studying during the day, working on my Burning Hand spell, hanging out in the workshop. We already went through the process of making golden needles.
Right.
So I don't know if that's happening today or happened yesterday, but we can just say I'm working. I have spells memorized. I haven't changed my list since what was written down, so I don't think I have to rememorize anything, but I'll just go through that for the record. I have Enlarge, Detect Magic, Color Spray, Feather Fall, Spider Climb, Deep Pockets, Rope Trick, Knock, Blink, Lightning Bolt, and Clairvoyance.
Woo! You are a walking arsenal of spells. And what is your amulet charged with?
It has 1 magic missile and 1 invisibility, and 1 empty gem, no souls.
All right.
I will learn Fly next, chat. Burning Hands is a level 1 spell, so it'll only take 1 or 2 days, and I could use more combat capabilities.
Makes sense.
And then I can fly away to the magic air fortress of wizardly wizards, and I have no idea what happens when you get there. They may just lynch me for being a lich.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll have to figure that out. Any other preparations pre-party, or should we just hop into the birthday party?
Preparations. I don't think so. If there's the dissect situation is the main one I want to look into.
Mm-hmm.
See if I've never met her, but I'm supposed to be setting her up with Lord Song. It'd be nice if this would be a perfect opportunity to slip her a love potion, but alas, I have none.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll at least talk to her and her consort.
Okay.
So if they show up before the party, I may bug them, or we can just skip to the party.
Well, yeah, everyone starts to show up before the dinner. Everyone shows up around 5, and dinner starts at 6.
Mm-hmm.
So come 5 o'clock, the people begin to show up. The great hall where Baron Song's throne chair really sits has been replaced with, the chair's still there, but there's been tables brought out, and lanterns have been hung, and chandeliers have been lit with candles. The room is brightly lit for the first time, and people are standing about, chatting. Servants are bringing around glasses of wine and champagne. Appetizers are being passed out. A set of dogs are walked around. Looks like guests have brought their dogs, and they're eagerly eating up anything that falls on the ground. And everything seems to be going quite swimmingly.
All right, so we jump into the party?
Yeah.
Okay. I assume that a servant delivered my
Yes,
black robes,
filled
which
with
I will.
pockets.
Yes, and I will cast my first deep pocket spell. It does take a full turn to cast this. Lasts for 18 hours for me.
Okay. So 10 minutes to cast, 18 hours
Yeah.
of pockets.
And I think I'll do 10-pound pockets this time. That's the
Okay.
base. Although I did fork up the money for the mini pockets if I so desire. Sweet. So 10 pound. The robe weighs 10 pounds when it's enchanted, and it can hold up to 100 pounds. So never gonna be encumbered again. And I'm gonna load up pockets with basically everything that I own. So I now have like that crowbar that used to just be like in my house.
It's just like shoved into a
I've just
pocket.
got a pocket with a crowbar in it. All the spell components.
What happens when there's things in the pockets at the end of the spell?
It specifically says that. They appear around you. Let's see.
So if you filled your pockets with coins and then the spell expires, you'll just be like in a pile of coins?
Yeah, if it's successful, the spell magic is cast, or the spell duration expires. All material suddenly appears around the wearer and immediately falls to the ground. The caster can also cause all the pockets to empty with a single command. So
Okay, so that's good to know because that means anything fragile in them appears and falls. So if there's like a potion in there, it might break.
Sure. Yeah. That could be debated. Yeah, that seems reasonable. We'll deal with that if it comes to it.
Okay.
Does this mean I can cause some of the pockets to empty with a single command? Or is it all or I have to actually manually remove items?
What's the wording precisely?
It says the caster can also cause all the pockets to empty with a single command. This is in the context of the pocket emptying when the spell expires.
Right. To me, that sounds like it's all or nothing. But I think it would be more interesting if you could empty individual pockets as you please.
I would like to quote this spell out of context.
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, there are no discernible bulges where the special pockets are. In case you were wondering.
All right.
All right. So I go through that ritual, erasing one of my tiny golden needles and enchanting my deep pockets, loading her up, and I think we're ready for...
As long as you don't put the food in your pockets, it'll be okay.
Why wouldn't I put the food in my pockets?
Because that's not what you do. You don't go to a party and just start putting food in your pockets, Ryan.
No.
Have you learned nothing?
That's
an inside joke, guys.
You're speaking to... I'm missing this inside joke.
Sensei!
Okay. Is that...
One of his endless speeches.
I've forgotten everything he taught me. I'm a grad student. You're speaking to the wrong person.
Oh my god.
Stealing free food from events.
That's exactly why he tells you not to do it. Anyway.
If I hide it in my belly, is that acceptable?
That's fine. It's a special pocket.
Yeah. There are no bulges discernible where the special pockets are.
Georg.
Oh, now I can literally cast pocket sand.
Georg,
thanks, Donalar, for that tip. Cool. So I think preparations have been made.
Yes. The guests have arrived. You are notified that dinner will begin in 10 minutes.
Probably like, oh shit. Like I got distracted in my little workshop and thought I might do some schmoozing with the guests before dinner started, but I guess I'm running late as usual. So I pull my hood of house song over my magical robes and head to the party. So I think that's like a gray, just like poncho with a rattlesnake on it that goes over my robes.
The seating arrangement goes Baron Song at the head of the table. You and Kel Crystal Keystone beside him on either side, Kel
Not
Greller.
Greller?
Kel Greller stands behind him and does not join in on dinner.
Huh.
He stands as guard the whole time. And then beside you guys and heading down are the heads of nobles' families, and then their heads and spouses, and then their children and aunts and uncles and all that crap. But all the higher-ups are on your end of the table.
So the families are separated. As in, like, so who's next to me? Who's on my right?
Sitting next to you is
Actually,
Lady...
on my... Yeah.
On your
my
right.
left. No, the Baron is on my right, correct?
Well,
he has Kel Crystal on his right.
actually, you're
And
on
me on-
his right and Crystal's on his left.
Okay. Usually it's Greller on his right and me on his left. Although I don't go to a lot of courtly functions when we've had dinner in the past.
We've had dinner in the past?
Like I've walked in on them having dinner and been invited to sit at the table.
Well, yes. Greller would normally sit at his right, but Greller's acting as guard here, and you get the right-hand spot.
Well then.
Which is interesting in and of itself. Sitting beside you is Lady Sunderland, and beside her is her husband Brontis, and beside him is Lady Diana Keystone, and beside her is her husband Thomas. Across from you is Kel Crystal Keystone, and beside her is Lady Dysek. And beside her is her son.
Was there any sort of opening ceremony or introductions, or did I miss that?
You missed everyone being announced as they were coming in.
So
So by the time you
been
came down,
before
everyone was
dinner.
finding their seats at dinner.
I actually would have come in the front, so I would have been in my workshop across the yard.
Okay. Yeah, so then as you come in through the front door, everyone's being seated. There's a set of guards on the front door in their full dress uniform that's been freshly pressed and cleaned. All the soldiers are up and busy. There's a bunch of guards in the keep itself, and it looks like the town militia, the town guard, has been roped into watching the walls, while the castle guard actually holds the inside.
There's like a dozen castle guard, more, 19 or something like that.
No, it's at a really low number. It's like 12.
Okay.
Where is it? He had 10 men-at-arms, and I think there were... there were like 3 or 4 new recruits, so I think it's 16 men-at-arms now.
Okay.
No, because 3 or 4 plus 10 is not 16. It's 13 or 14 guards. I can
Is
math.
anyone armed or armored aside from Greller and the guards?
Yes. Let's see. Lady Dysek brought her own knight. Her name is Arlene Norwin, and
Who's
she is
dining in plate?
It's a breastplate. It's not full plate. Just a breastplate with greaves and stuff. And Lady Sunderland brought her retainer knight as well, but you did not catch their name. Her name.
And they have swords as well at their sides.
Yes, they do.
All right, so I'll have my dagger, I guess, on the outside of my robes,
Okay.
like in the picture,
Okay.
because I think that looks cooler. Although I'm debating whether it's more practical to just have it in a deep pocket along with everything else.
Let's take a look at that picture one more time for everyone else. Isn't it beautiful?
The quarterstaff is shoved into a pocket, by the way. So if I need to, it'd be like bloop 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 bloop.
Can you put a quarterstaff in the pocket?
The spell is literally called Deep Pockets. Oh wait, hold on a sec.
It's got a limited volume, though, right?
5 cubic feet. I mean, it could be a long, skinny pocket, right?
I guess it doesn't specify. I guess
it's extra dimensional space. These laws of
it shapes to fit whatever fits that goes in it, as long as it's less than 5 cubic feet.
Yeah. And 10 pounds.
Right. So you'd have trouble putting 10 pounds of feathers in there. Probably.
Yeah, not to mention the emotional scars of whatever had to be done to acquire 10 pounds of feathers. All those birds, those poor birds.
Yeah. Okay. Party's going. Is there anything you'd like to do during the party specifically before events unfold?
There are events unfolding.
There will be.
Yeah, I will be making apparent small talk, but trying to gather information from people. I was hoping to talk more with the Disex, but they're across the table, so maybe that'll be awkward. I'll start by just chit-chatting with Sunderland. Is that her name?
Yes, it is. Lady Sunderland. She is 66 years old.
Okay. I guess before that, do I get any sort of impression of what the room seems to like? Am I getting sideways glares, or are people avoiding eye contact with me?
A charisma check, please.
Yeah. Because no doubt some sort of rumors must have escaped Misty Rapids. I don't know if the rumors are there's wraiths butchering people. There was a paladin here the other day, and now he's gone. I do need to spread some. Nope. I just missed the mark on that one, most likely. Okay. I did want to start get some explanation out there as to what happened to the paladin.
So you're sitting down, and Lady Sunderland turns to you and says, "My, you must be Carl. I don't think we've had the pleasure of meeting."
Indeed. I extend a hand. Does she touch me?
Yes.
Right, I'll kiss her and bow to a knee or whatever.
Okay.
It's the pleasure to make your acquaintance.
The pleasure is mine.
The Lady Sunderland, I presume?
Yes. I hear you and my son are quite close.
I look around. I have no idea what she's talking about, correct?
She sees your confusion
Son?
and gives a bit of a nod towards
to Greller.
You look to Greller. She gives a nod in Greller's direction, and he makes eye contact with you.
Yes. Kel Greller is a fine young man. And strong sword arm. We are blessed to have him.
Aren't we all? So tell me, Carl, where do you come from?
I was educated east, across the sea, in a tower of high wizardry. Oh, I meant to ask as I was dealing with the robe, but it slipped my mind. Is there any sort of like on the main continent? Is there any sort of ritual or ceremony associated with accepting or changing robe colors? Like, is there like a robing ceremony where you choose the red, white, or black?
There's not a ceremony. There probably would be a small ceremony. You would go to the head of the order or one of the heads of that order and say, well, first you'd let your own guy know that you're leaving your order, and then you go to the other order and say, I want to join, and they'd ask you some questions, and they can't really turn you down, but...
I should send a letter across the sea or something to notify some records department in the whatever.
Yes, that would be appropriate.
Okay. So I don't know if I did that this afternoon or I'll deal with it tomorrow, but
okay.
That seems to be a thing. Yeah, so I tell her that I was educated across the sea, and then I'm like, and when I heard that Lord Song was in need of arcane counsel,
You came all the way across the sea?
Well, it was time. I was of age and hungry for adventure. This just happened to be a excellent opportunity.
I hear there have been terrible wars over there.
Is this not the nature of man? Are there not terrible wars everywhere?
I suppose that's true. How very wise
Have I heard of any terrible wars?
Yeah, there were some wars going on.
Do we know which time period this campaign is taking place in, and if any of this is relevant, or?
Yeah, this is near the time of Tyrus and Silac. Like, this is the next year, so you'd have large armies moving across the other continent.
Yeah, so this is the age of Verasi.
Yes. Well, on the other continent it is. Over here it seems nice and peaceful.
Okay. So, I believe the Sunderland estate is to the west of here? Am I correct?
The Sunderlands their houses in town, they own properties to the west.
Okay.
Yeah, but they live in town. The heads of the family do.
Okay. Fine country. Yeah.
Yeah. So conversation continues, unless there's anything specific you'd like to say.
I guess not. No, I'm surprised to... I mean, I guess Greller had to come from somewhere, but I wasn't expecting this.
Yes.
Does she strike me as a... I guess I need a detect evil spell, don't I? She has no holy symbol around her neck, does she?
She does not.
And her husband... What do I
Seems
make of
pretty
him?
normal.
Does he say anything, or is she doing the talking?
She does most of the talking. It seems like she's definitely the head of the household. He sits and he chats with the husband across the way from him and to the person next to him, and he doesn't go out of his way to speak to you at all.
How wide is the table? Like, can I make conversation with Lady Dysek, or is that like an awkward shout across a table? She's
No, you
seated
could do
directly
it.
across from me.
No, she's like across from you and one over, which is it's easy to make conversation with her. You might have to lean forward and make that eye contact, but it can be done.
Cool. So I guess, like, as this conversation with Lady Sunderland is happening, I will be eyeing the Lady Dysek and her retainer. And can I get, like, physical descriptions of them?
Yes.
Ages and
so
roll for hotness
Lady Dysek is middle-aged, in her early 40s. She's about 5'5", 150 pounds.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but Baron Song's like in his 20s.
Baron Song is like 25.
And he's after this 40-year-old woman for her lands and inheritance.
Yes. Who else did you want information on?
Her and her retainers. So, like, her...
Right.
She doesn't have a... She's got a son.
She has a son, Dolan.
Who is a kid?
No.
Or a man?
Her sister and brother they're dead, but their children are in attendance. So her nieces and nephews. Dolan. Dolan is a little bit further. Actually, no, he's seated right next to Lady Dysek. He is 16 years old, having just come of age, and is the only child of one of these heads of family to be sitting at this end of the table. Maybe it's because... No, you're directly across from Crystal.
Okay, yeah, you're right. And then one over is Lady Dysek. Okay.
Right, and then one over is Dolan beyond that.
Is Kel Crystal speaking with Lady Dysek? Or is...
They speak a little.
Okay.
Polite conversation is made. And
woman, you said breastplate. Does she have like a longsword at her side, or
yes,
any other weapons of note?
Longsword.
Okay. So I'm directly across from Nolan Dysek.
No, you're directly across from Crystal.
Okay, yeah, you're right. And then one over is Lady Dysek. Okay.
Right, and then one over is Dolan beyond that.
Is Kel Crystal speaking with Lady Dysek? Or is...
they speak a little.
Okay.
Polite conversation is made, and then... yeah, I guess Crystal can't really speak to the Keystones. They're a little further down on your side, so she can't speak with her own family. I should note that Arlene Norwin, the retainer knight for Lady Dysek, is much older. She's quite short, barely over 5 feet tall, frame to match it, but she's got to be in her late 60s.
Okay.
So an older knight.
Right. Are there drinks going around? Or?
Yes, there are. Drinks are being passed around. Food's being passed around. There's a big roast pig on the table.
Okay, so feasting has begun in full
Yes.
force. Right. At some point when there is a lull in the conversation, I will speak up to Lady Dysek.
Go for it.
Lady Dysek, how are things in your land? I was just over in that neck of the woods a week or so ago with the Mother Ullman dealing with some wraiths. Tragic business.
Tragic indeed. We have had many problems with the wraiths ourselves.
Still?
Still. They've been spotted in villages. 3 of them have been abandoned. People have fled further east. We must find a way to stop these foul creatures.
This troubles me. I thought that the mother and I dealt with this problem. It seems the creatures multiply.
Yes. Thankfully, the peasants are stupid and fearful. Word spreads quickly of these monsters, and they flee at the first sign of danger. There is something to be said for cowardly creatures. They do survive. Somewhat like rats.
However, this can't stand. You just can't go abandoning...
No.
lands.
Those fields cannot be left untended for long. It is about time to start planting.
And the mother, did she not make herself comfortable in that abandoned temple? Suddenly, not sure if she has heard about this, if I'm betraying sensitive information. Does she not seem to know what's going on? Or
she pauses and says, "Yes, I had heard Mother Ullman was establishing some sort of thing on my lands. I presume it's the least I could do for her, considering her help in reducing the number of wraiths about."
Does that mean I get a lot as well? Kidding. The reason I guess I'm just surprised to hear that wraiths are still a problem with the good mother so close at hand. Why? It asks the question, why is she not dealing with this problem?
That is a very wise question to be asking, Carl.
What is the Baron doing throughout this dinner? It sounds like he doesn't have anyone to converse with. Is he talking with?
He'll talk with Crystal, or he'll talk with whoever, because he can lean forward and talk to people, and he can shout down at people 5 rows down.
He can talk to whoever he wants to.
Yeah, he could get on the table and dance if he wanted. So he stays mostly quiet, eating and watching and listening, talking politely.
Okay. I do want to get as much information out of the Dyseks as I can, but we can let that proceed over the course of the night.
So a few minutes later, what's her name? Lady Diana Keystone kind of stands up from her table and clears her throat. The hall quiets down for a moment as she prepares to say some words. Where is the volume control?
Lady Keystone. So this
Lady
is
Keystone.
Crystal's mother?
Actually, Crystal's niece?
So she's younger than Crystal?
I think so. I need these. Yes, she's about 25 years old. It's the niece of Crystal. She gets up and clears her throat, turns to Baron Song and says, "Baron Song, I must protest the presence of your Archmage. By the Father's beard, he is a wanted man with a criminal past. He was sought by a paladin. It is not fitting to have him at your council much less to have him as a guest at this dinner.
Does that silence the table?
Yes.
I
Everything.
open my mouth as if to speak and then glance sideways to the Lord to see if I have, I don't know, see if he gives me any nonverbal cues giving me permission to defend myself, or if he steps up to say anything.
He doesn't really move. He's still leaning forward on his elbows, a chicken bone in his hand. He slowly sets it down, pauses. It's probably only really like a 3 or 4 second pause, but it feels like an eternity in this hall where everyone at the table, including the servants and the guards, are all looking and watching. And then he just says, "Your grievance has been heard," and picks up his chicken bone and goes back to eating. Lady Diana flushes a little bit and sits back down, turns to her husband Thomas and begins speaking with him, and slowly
I don't think I've broken eye contact with Lady Keystone. She probably doesn't look at me.
Right.
No,
she does not look at you. She doesn't acknowledge your presence, except with her words. Slowly, the party comes back.
I don't know if I even say this to anyone in particular, but I'll grumble about that damned paladin. We cleared this up. He went west in search of his quarry. What is... damned groundless accusations. Rage eat my turkey bone.
Okay.
Whatever it is I'm eating.
So an hour later, the main feast is wrapping up. There's still desserts and wine and talking, and the party will continue, but the eating session has finished up.
Mm-hmm.
And next on the table, well, not on the table itself, but next on the list of things to do are the presentation of gifts.
Did I get any more conversation with the Dicex in that time?
Yes.
Or was my conversation cock-blocked?
No. You can continue to converse.
Wild accusations.
What would you like to converse?
I don't know. More small talk. Maybe I'll ask the son, so what do you like to do? Do you take to the... I don't know. Are you practiced at sword and lance, or more...
His voice breaks while he speaks to you, and he says, "I'm looking to be a knight one day. I've been practicing my horse, and I ride every day. I've been working on my lancing, and my sword fighting, and my archery."
Most impressive.
Yes.
Archery as well.
I hope to squire for Kelgreller when I'm a little older.
A fine choice. Dare I say, one of the finest swords in the land. Well, I'm sure you'll make a brave and capable warrior one day. Do I think I'll make a brave and capable warrior one day?
I think you think you're going to kill him before he has that opportunity.
No. I think Georg's kind of in denial. I don't know. We'll see. The whole murder rampage kind of is like a fuzzy blur. That was the days after I was level drained by the Wraith. It almost felt like a hazy dream. I became the Wraith.
For a moment.
Very well. Any more to say to the lady? I guess I can keep making small talk. How do you feel about your son engaging in such dangerous activity?
It will make a man out of him. I think all men ought to engage in dangerous activities. It culls the weak.
Why, I suppose I'd never thought of it that way. But, yes, one cannot advance in this life without a little risk.
Tell me, Carl, do you like to play with danger?
I'm a man of letters. I tend to avoid danger as much as possible.
Keep yourself out of those sticky situations.
I'm really confused. Don't know what she's insinuating, but I'm not sure if I like it. I'm supposed to be seducing you for the Lord. It's probably not apparent to any of the guests, but I'm like a year older than her son.
Yeah. Well, a year older and many years wiser, having seen a lot more things in life.
Yeah.
And I think you probably have a build that ages a little bit faster. Dolan has that sort of perpetual youthful look on his face. You know,
I might have started with that, but after
I think your face is crossed with lines.
The number of souls that
and...
have passed in and out of this body has certainly taken their toll. I mean, yeah. Still a young man, but at first glance, maybe a little more harrowed.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Is there anything else in particular you'd like to say before we go to presents?
I don't know. I'm just trying to get a feel for her. I don't know if there's any way to gauge how she feels about Baron's song, especially with him sitting 2 feet to the left. But no, I guess we can move on to presents.
So, when it comes time for gifts, Lady Dysek kind of claps her hands, and a servant brings in this beautiful, strong horse. It's jet black throughout, with a brown mane coming off the side of it, off its neck, and kind of hanging to one side. It's a gorgeous horse, one of the better horses you've seen in your life, and she presents it to him as her gift to him on his 26th birthday. The Sunderlands present...
Pause for a second. Does Detect Magic have obvious visual components? Like, do my eyes turn blue or anything like that? I don't think it says anything in the spell description, but I know when we did True Seeing, you had, like, my eyes turn purple.
Right. It takes somatic and verbal components. So I don't think there's any sort of visual other than your hands moving and you speaking. You know, like, if you were to cast it, it would be obvious you were casting some sort of spell.
But if it's cast...
Once it's cast, it has no other components.
All right.
The Sunderlands. Yes, the Sunderlands, who's sitting right next to you, and apparently the mother of Kel Greller, presents Baron's song with a set of 20 silver mugs that has the Song family sigil engraved on them.
Mm-hmm.
The Keystones present 2 slaves, a cook and a bed slave, to